Hi everybody, it's Patty, Rockstar Mom, and welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title, today I am going to review another Dr. Oz show segment that I thought would be interesting for us. Now, I know that many of you absolutely adore Dr. Oz, and I know that there are some of you from previous videos that I've done, do not care for Dr. Oz at all. I'm one of those people who I can sort of take him or leave him. I don't watch him every day, but if I see there's going to be a segment on that I think I may be interested in, then I'll make an effort to watch it. So the other day I saw an advertisement for a segment that he was going to be doing on cosmetics and in fact secrets that cosmetics companies do not want us to know. If you're interested in what those secrets are, stay tuned. I will tell you that I took lots of notes, and I'm going to be referring to my notes because I want to make very sure that I repeat what Dr. Oz and the experts actually said. And then at the end of the video, I'll tell you sort of what I think about it. So here we go, and I'm going to need my glasses. By the way, he had two experts on his show. One skincare cosmetics chemist of many years, and then another skincare expert who has worked with the major cosmetics companies over the years. I'll list both of their names in the description box, and if you're interested in Googling them to see really what their background is, you can do that if you're interested. The first secret was SPF in makeup. And basically what they said was that SPF in makeup really does offer less protection than what we think it does. We're not getting nearly the amount of sunscreen as we would get from using a regular sunscreen. And what he said was that we tend to put our makeup on and maybe we only use it on certain places of our faces. We don't get a good even coverage always with our makeup. He took a model and had her apply regular sunscreen, and then once she had it applied, by the way, this was a video of the model applying regular sunscreen to her face. They put her under a black light, and you could immediately see that the sunscreen covered her face completely. There were no splotches, no broken areas, no place that there was not sunscreen. Then in the next video, he took her and had her apply makeup with sunscreen, and then he again put her under the black light, and you could see all kinds of splotches on her face. He compared it to a chain link fence, and that's not exactly what it looked like, but that was a very good analogy because you could see all of the spots where the makeup wasn't. And it appeared in the video that she was doing a pretty good job of applying the makeup. He actually called this getting leaky protection. And he said what it really did is that it gave us a false sense of security when it comes to our sunscreen. They all agreed that we should use a good sunscreen with a minimum of 30 SPF on our faces every single day. The second secret they talked about was Argan Oil, and we all love our Argan Oil. He asked the audience members when they got their tickets, if they used an Argan Oil product to bring it to the show. And of the whole audience, only about a dozen actually brought their products. The chemists took their products and tested them for the Argan Oil. And what he found, of everyone he tested, none of them had enough Argan Oil to be effective. Legally, they can say the product has Argan Oil, even if it only has a drop. They went on to say that the biggest abusers of this were the shampoos and conditioners. In order for Argan Oil to be effective on our hair, and it can be very effective on our hair, but to be effective, it has to stay on the hair. And shampoos and conditioners, everything that you put on washes off. So the Argan Oil is not staying on our hair. They said it's best to use 100% pure Argan Oil. If we're going to leave it on our hair, we want it to be 100% so that we're getting the full benefit of it, and not just putting it on and rinsing it off. The next secret they talked about was the Microbead face and body scrubs. They said that the microbeads are put in mostly for show, that there is just not very much scrubbing effect. The products actually don't need them. And they said the real problems with these microbeads is that they can build up in the environment and cause problems in the waterways. And actually they have a buildup, or they can have a buildup in marine sea life like clams and mussels, which makes it a real problem for the environment. The bottom line there is that the brands put them in for show. The next secret was the one I think that bothered me the most. He had a table with a pile of what looked like maybe gravel, but he put his hands through it and explained that it was dead insect carcasses. And for a long, long time, cosmetic companies have used these dead insect carcasses for the red pigment in our red lipsticks, blushes, eyeshadows. They are marketed under the name of carmine, C-A-R-M-I-N-E. Obviously, the cosmetic companies would not put dead insect carcasses in the ingredient list, but they will use the word carmine. They said that these dead insect carcasses are used widely in the cosmetic industry. The last secret they talked about was how to spend less money when you purchase cosmetics. And I think part of this, all of us probably know that there are large corporations who sell to both ends of the spectrum. They develop, manufacture, and market to the very high-end department stores, and they also market to the drugstore, Walmart types of stores. They may develop a star ingredient in that one laboratory they have, and yet they put it in both products. And what they said was, when you're looking at these products, to really do your research. And if you see, say, a high-end product that you're interested in, you like the description, you like the claims, you like the ingredients, to also then Google and look for drugstore type products that are manufactured by that same company and have those same ingredients and those same claims. Obviously, the difference in the two is that the higher end products are sold in a very expensive store setting with salespeople who are trained to talk about the product and teach about the product and train the customer on how to use the product. There are tremendous expenses involved in that. There are tremendous expenses involved in the beautiful packaging and the mirrors and the applicators. That whole spectrum is designed for that high-end department store. The drugstore, on the other hand, the low-end marketplace, does not need that trained individual to teach us about the product. We're pretty much on our own to figure out the benefits and the texture of the product. Rarely can we sample it, but we're on our own to figure everything out about it to see if that's a product that might be right for us. So we really have to do our homework if we want to find what they call clones. In the YouTube beauty world, we would call them dupes, but they call these clones, and really I suppose they would be clones if they're made by the same brand, but the same product, just at two different price points. The cosmetics consultant had 2 eyeshadow palettes on display, and she asked Dr. Oz to see if he could identify the more expensive of the two. One was $60 and one was $6. They were, as close as you could tell on the TV, they were identical colors. And as I said, they were small palettes, and the configuration was different in the way they were laid out. The colors were laid out in the palette. One had a mirror, one didn't, if I remember correctly. And actually, I think Dr. Oz missed it, but she did point out the one of the two that was the $60, and obviously the other one was the $6. But as I said, the colors on my TV at least looked exactly the same. So they all agreed that we need to do our research if we're cost conscious and want to get the very best deals on things we can. Now, with all of that being said, let's talk about what Patty thinks about it. I thought it was pretty interesting. I will say that I have never really thought about the sunscreen in product in cosmetics, if it was effective or not. I know that more and more companies are claiming to put sunscreen in products. I've just years ago got into the habit of using a good sunscreen on my face. It's the last thing I do before I apply my makeup, so I don't buy a cosmetic product because of the sunscreen it has in it. That's not even a consideration for me. If it is for you, if you're not using a regular sunscreen of at least 30, then you might want to reconsider. I'm sort of the same way about Argan Oil. I love Argan Oil. I use Argan Oil on my face and sometimes my body most days. Sometimes I use it in my hair, but I always purchase 100% pure argan oil. Again, I don't rely on a product that says it has argan oil in it. I think it's nice if it does have some, but I'm not going to depend personally on that product having as much as I would like for it to have. I thought it was interesting about the microbeads, because I have some scrubs that have the microbeads in them. I'm certainly going to reconsider those. The dead insect carcasses is what got me the most of these secrets. I'm vegetarian, as many of you know. Over the past year or so, I've slowly been switching over to natural skincare products. I truly try to make sure that nothing has any animal testing done whatsoever in my skincare. I had started to be more cautious in my color cosmetics. And I always knew to look to see if things had been tested on animals, either the brand itself or someone that they may have bought an ingredient from, because the brand can say they do no animal testing when they don't, but maybe an ingredient had had some animal testing done. So we have to be so careful with that if we're concerned about it. I have lots of lipsticks, and I have lots of red lipsticks. I have lots of blushes, and I haven't had time yet to go back and look to see if anything has that word carmine on it, because if it does, it's going in the trash. I can promise you that. From now on, I will be reading the label on every color cosmetic I purchase, whether it's a foundation, whether it's an eyeshadow, a blush. I'm going to look for that word carmine, and I will not purchase a product that has that in it. That would be the ultimate animal testing. As soon as I finished watching that show, I Googled what product, can't remember what products do no animal testing, or what products do not use carmine. I think that's what I Googled. I did get some answers, and they were, for the most part, vegan products. So I think that's a good way to think about it. I need to do more research on it, but I think that may be a good way to think about it. If a product is vegan, then hopefully the carmine is not used. But for sure, I'm going to be looking at labels, whether it's vegan or not. And then I think we all sort of knew about the high-end versus the low-end products. I mean, we see many examples here on YouTube, reviews of products that are either dupes or clones. So we sort of knew that. I think we all sort of knew that. In closing, I would just caution all of us to be careful about the claims that we hear and we see from the various brands. As Dr. Oz talked about in a show a year or so ago, and I did not do a review on that show, although I saw it, the skincare industry is not regulated. And because of that, they can pretty much make any claim they want to make. And I know just within this past year, and you would have missed it if you weren't looking. But there were two brands that were evidently reported to the FDA for making claims that were not quite right. And those two brands had to go back and rewrite their claims, and I think change any packaging. If you're at all concerned about the rules regarding claims on skincare, I highly suggest that you go to the FDA, I think it's fda.gov, and read how the FDA fits into the skincare industry. Basically, from the way I understand it and from what I've read in sort of patty language, a product does not have to be approved by the FDA unless it changes the actual structure of your skin. And that, for the most part, I think would be the retinols, the purest form of vitamin A. That's why you have to have a prescription. You can go to your dermatologist and probably buy his line of skincare, but it's not prescription. Just because you're buying it there does not mean that it is a prescription. If you have to have a prescription to use a product, it has been approved by the FDA. I know from experience that there are companies that dermatologists and spas can work with, whereby they use products that are being manufactured with their own labels on them. I would say, in closing, don't depend on me or anyone here on YouTube who's reviewing products to be the hear-all, be-all expert. Every time I go to research a product or an ingredient, I can always trace it back to the money. It's like every expert I find has a money interest. They either sell it, they market it, they manufactured it, they developed it, they came up with the idea. It all goes back to money. So for me, am very, very careful about what I believe. Those of you who watch me know that I just turned 72. I had a very young mother, and I have lighting. And when I put my glasses on, you can see that halo light in my glasses. I have lighting. If you met me on the street, you probably wouldn't know me. I've had no work done. I've had no surgery. I've had no fillers. Other than microdermabrasion and a glycolic pill, I've had nothing done in a spa. I've used the most expensive products out there, and I've used my own products that I make in my kitchen, and there's no difference. I've seen no difference in my skin. No difference. So I just say be careful. I think that if we want to buy the most expensive products we can find, we should do that. We should do it. If we don't want to spend the money, then there are other ways to go too. Thank you for watching today. I know that I get a lot of new subscribers from my Dr. Oz reviews. I don't do very many. I think this may only be the third or fourth one. But I do get a lot of new viewers from these videos. So if you're new, thank you for coming over and watching. I hope you'll like my channel and subscribe. All of those who are subscribers, I so appreciate you. I really do. I'd love it if you give me a thumbs up. Make sure to leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this. I tell you what, here's the question for the comments. Did you know that your red lipsticks and blushes and eyeshadows had dead insect carcasses in them? And how do you feel about it? That's the question. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.